Are you looking for positive change within veterinary medicine? If you want a community that's focused on progress rather than perfection, you're in the right place. Hey there, I'm Dr. Stacey Cordovano, and I want veterinarians to learn to be happier, healthier, wealthier, and more grateful for the lives that we've created. Welcome to the Whole Veterinarian Podcast. Hey there, welcome to another episode of Vet Truck Confidential with my friends Kelly Zaytunian and Misty Gold. We hope you are enjoying and finding this helpful as we chat about life and work and all the things in between. I hope you enjoy this episode. Hi again, ladies. How are you?
Doing good.
Misty's so good. She's dancing. Okay. So glad to have you guys here to chat again today. I thought maybe we could talk, considering how busy all of us are and how many people in equine practice don't have some giant team behind them. Maybe we could talk a little bit about how to be more efficient in your day or just get the most out of your day. What do you think?
I'm in.
I love it.
Okay. So here's an intro. What does your ideal work week look like? This is certainly something we talk about at the SEP seminar, but let's talk about our personally.
My ideal work week, I'm very close to having it right now, which is 2 days of what we call my office time. So it's really like time for me to get any sort of management things done for the practice. It also gives me time to run my own personal errands and do consulting work. So it's sort of a catch-all on those days. It's the days that we get to meet, or I get to meet with you all. That's really nice. And then I do 2 days of field work, and then I spend my 5th weekday teaching at the local tech school. So kind of a nice mix of personal, individual time, field time, and doing something a little bit different with my degree.
What about family time? Where do you fit that in?
I thought we were just talking about our work time.
Oh.
So family time. What I like about the days that I'm kind of doing my office days, I get to work from home, and so I build in a little bit of play and just seeing Maddie with her caretaker during that time. So that's kind of fun. Is like I'm here, but not totally here. And then I've worked it out so that I don't leave before 9 and I am home by 5.
Nice. Mist, how about you?
Let's see. In this stage of life, one of my children in particular has, we'll call them special needs. So my work time has shifted. My work week has shifted. So to any listeners, it might sound like very little equine vet work, but my ideal work and what I have to do out of necessity now is when I'm parenting, I have to just be parenting. Like the kids do require that level of kind of on purpose focus. So my kids' day, whether or not it's school or camp, starts at 8. So I like to be able to do mom stuff until 8 when I drop them off. And then I like to do outdoor physical vet work in the morning. I try to be done by 1 p.m. so that I can come home and have 2 hours to do any sort of like paperwork, office work, whether that's for the practice or for Decade 1 or for SEPs or like any of other the kind of vet hats that I wear right now that's not necessarily physical practice. I pick my kids up at 3, and then the boys are at an age where they're a lot of fun and they're active, and I don't want to miss out on that. So after I pick them up from school, I do not do vet work anymore. I do baseball practice and taekwondo and house stuff. I play pickleball on Monday nights. That's just for me.
Amazing.
Yep. I make dinner. Those are the things that I have discovered when I have that stuff in order. It takes a huge level of internal stress off of me, and that's when I feel most at peace and all of the things that I'm doing. And my partner has a job that supports a large portion of like our home and life. And so that's what works best for us as a partnership and for our family. So
Nice.
That's awesome. I don't think that you're saying it tentatively like you feel bad about that, but I don't think that you should.
I don't think you do, actually. I don't
um
think you do feel bad about that.
I struggle with feeling guilt as if I'm like not a real vet. I mean, but I don't struggle with understanding like and accepting that so I'm not sure. I think I struggle with other people's perception of how
Mm.
much work that is.
Hmm.
Like maybe that's not enough work, but I don't struggle with understanding and accepting that in this space, this is the healthiest as a person that I have felt in a long time. And we've had a rough couple of years from just like a sandwich generation caretaker of older family members and parents and, just a lot of stuff. But as we discuss at SEPs, we are more than just a veterinarian. We're whole people. And this whole people phase of my life requires a lot more out of me than just that work. So, and I do have to remind myself, this is my revelation this week. I was in intense group practice for 14 years. That is not no time.
You did enough work in
Yeah.
that time to really
Right. Like
make up for the
that's
next few years. Yeah.
Yeah.
and like that's a new revelation just recently. Like I do try to tell myself like, self, you don't have to, like you didn't jump ship. You put
Yeah.
time in, you worked hard. So like, I'm not.
And I think that's what it's all about, right? Is not having to fit within a mold or an expectation of what's been done previously, right? Like you sort of started off saying most people wouldn't think this, but we know that most people now actually want to be working and seeing appointments less than they currently are. So you are just doing it where other people want to start doing it. So I think it's great, and I think it's really important for people to see and hear that, like, we are not working 5 days a week, 6 to 6, as equine veterinarians out in the field, and that's okay. Stacey, what
I,
about you?
yeah. As much as I am like a proponent of this exercise, I'm a little overdue on this exercise. No, I say it every time I talk about the exercise. It will change as your life stages change. So I am overdue on an evaluation of my current life stage in this. Yeah, this is the year of no for me. I'm cutting back on as much as humanly possible, hence the podcast not being out in a while. And hence the podcast, changing. But yeah, my ideal, my ideal is getting my kids to school or camp, working on all the different projects throughout the day, and I am responsible for getting them in the afternoon. So that means my day wraps at, 2:15, 2:30, and that's a short day. And my ideal is that I would get an hour and a half uh additional in the afternoon to kind of wrap up my day, because what I've found is since we've lost a nanny just because of both kids going into full-time school, I used to have a nanny till about 4:30. And so even when I went to pick up my older son, I dropped him to her and I still got about an hour to wrap up my day. And that is what I'm finding I am missing now. So I get kind of the same amount of stuff done, but I don't get that closure at the end of the day. And I've been noodling on how to find it, and currently I'm just trying to cut things out, and I'm not sure that I love everything that I have to cut out. I wish there were just a little bit of extra time in the day. And so whether that's exploring something like, additional help just for the afternoon from a college student or something like that. But um yeah, I'm in an exploration kind of phase right now because it's not currently my ideal, but my ideal would be to separate kind of all that work into the middle of the day. And then that includes, practice management, the chiro and other lameness work I do. And then of course the other projects, SEPs and the whole veterinarian, things like that, mentor vet. So I also pretty strict boundaries around the end of the day. Like obviously I'm on call, and that doesn't bother me. It doesn't hurt my feelings to have to leave something. My kids know it's important for me to have to leave certain things when I'm on call. That doesn't faze me at all. I know I'm like a little weird in that way. But when I'm not on call, I am not doing work anymore in the evening after they go to bed or anything like that. It was just too much for my brain.
How are either of you making that happen? What are the efficiencies that you've built into
I think
to make it
personally, I'm
happen?
trying to lean on technology, and that it takes some time to learn it. I realize there's an uphill battle for that for some people who just feel like they're so busy they can't even take the time to learn it. But for me, Covet, I've started using for records. I'm notoriously slow on records, and now that I have someone, another veterinarian that needs to see them, like they need to get done. And so Covet is sort of an AI supported record generator that I can just copy and paste into records, and that is very helpful. And then I have found an app called Tascade that's a to do list sort of project organizer, but it also has AI support running in the background. So it can help me create templates for things and even like employee reviews or like um, key performance indicator outlines that'll help me generate one for like a veterinary practice. It's very smart and not that expensive for the year. So those two have been really helpful for me. And then it's shared as a team. So we have like collaborative lists between the support staff and my associate and myself.
Nice. And you
I
all share
also
like
asked my
that.
husband for more help than he was providing previously, and I will say that that has been very beneficial for our entire family.
Asking for help, that's the summer theme for my practice.
Nice.
I tried technology and I spent money. I have like the iPad Pro with the pencil, and I have this like other digital notebook, all in an effort to make record keeping in particular faster and easier. And I am back to a notebook, a single notebook. It goes everywhere with me. It encompasses everything. So for example, when we're talking about efficiencies, I also rely pretty heavily on routine. So, and this is for life, not just practice, because again, at this stage in life, I feel like I'm flowing back and forth between that all day, every day. So on Sunday, I sit down and make a menu, a dinner menu. That is one of those things that just the mental load of having to think about what people eat all the time is a real drag. So on Monday, I make a menu Monday through Friday, only dinner. Lunch is easy for me for packing and whatever, and breakfast, but dinner weighs on me. So in my notebook, I've got that. I make a grocery list based off of that. And on my job on Monday is to go to the grocery and just shop off the list, which has saved so much time, money, and mental load, stress. And then for the rest of the week, I don't have to think about what's for dinner. I just look at the menu and make it. And like that is something stupid and simple that has really revolutionized my existence. Also in that notebook is where I make a list each day of what has to be accomplished. And I challenge myself. We had a speaker at one of the SEP seminars talk about list making and about how we have a tendency to write projects on the list and not tasks. So I really tried, and that kind of resonated. I'll just put like clean the basement. That's overwhelming, but so I try to make the list each morning of everything that needs to get done as a task, an individual task. That helps me kind of see the day better, and that I can check off and kind of stay on top of. And then I also have like the week. Not that I don't have a calendar in the phone and a digital calendar here or there, but I write like for the week the quick things that I feel like my brain is always like, gosh, what do we have on Monday night? What's Tuesday night? So like taekwondo at this time and this time, also in the notebook. So no matter what I'm doing, I can flip back and forth and see what I need. And then what I've had to let go of for the medical record is that I really want this like beautiful medical record that I can share with the client that looks really aesthetically appealing. And I have let that go. I'm continuing to tell myself that done is better than perfect. And as long as it has all of the pertinent information to be a medically sound record, that's what we're gonna have to do right now. And so with a written record, I write that as I go. I don't have to remember. That's much easier for me to transcribe into a quick something to send over.
How about you, Kelly? What are you using to stay more efficient?
My technicians, the
How
team.
many do you have again?
I usually have two that come with me during the daytime, and we have the like ratio is basically 2 to 1 for the doctors for support team to doctor team, and not just like utilizing them, but kind of going on this concept. And again, I heard this from one of the speakers at very first up meeting, and she said, "Only do what only you can do," and that is my mantra. So, when it comes to the types of appointments that I see, it's only do the appointments that I can do, and the remainder go on vet assistants or technicians' schedules so that they can go and do follow-up Adequan shots or laser therapies or those things that, bring value and obviously need to be done for our patients, but that is not where I need to be spending 30 minutes of my time lasering a horse's back. I can get the whole end of the month of billing done in that period of time, or I can have that, review with one of my employees that we talked about in another one of our discussions. So that's really been my big kind of efficiency, is not taking on every task just because maybe I can do it a little bit faster or it will be done exactly how I want it done, but kind of embracing and being okay with letting other people take over has really helped me in my day. I do like lists. I have my handwritten desk journal, Misty, so this works better for me. There's too many electronic calendars and shared calendars that I have between working at Foothill and the practice and my consulting and my family calendar and the Easy Vet appointment schedule. So at the end of the week or beginning of the next week, I go through and I kind of block off the time so that I just mentally, kind of know where I need to be and what I need to be doing and when. And that has certainly helped. But I really do think, if it were not for the awesome team that I have, there's no way that I could set the schedule, and not start appointments until 10 and be done by 4 to get up and home on time. And there's no way that I would be able to only be working and seeing appointments and producing that revenue 2 days a week without an amazing group who's been given, the reins to really do what they need to do. So.
Yeah, that's definitely inspiring. I don't think I delegate enough for sure. I think one thing it sounds like we all do though is take a chunk of time to plan the week. I've found that to be so helpful. It sounds like it works for both of you too. So I feel like in my highest period of burnout, I was kind of just letting my life run me. And that's one kind of low bar way to start taking control of your life is just sit down for 20 minutes and think about how the week is going to look. I mean, it's going to get messed up, but at least you have a plan to start with.
I'll also throw out, and this is something different, but maybe somebody listening, it will resonate with them, is that with a son that has special needs or high needs, finding the right therapist for him and our situation has allowed me to work with the therapist really regularly on what we need as a family to be able to be done, and then what skills does that translate that we need to build up with him. And there were so many ways that I was getting burnt out and our family was burnt out that just over time we had kind of evolved in a way, because we didn't know better, and that's what kind of worked to help us survive, but we weren't thriving. Simple things that bedtime that a neurotypical child won't have trouble with, but now 9 years in, we were still struggling with. And really the amount of freedom going to see appointments that are farther away than I know that my son would be comfortable with me being, things like that we can just kind of address up front, and the therapist gets to talk to me and understand why it's important for us and what impact it's having, and then help him to cope with that. And we kind of work as a team with him, has really given all of us, him probably more than anyone, this amount of comfort and confidence, and he's getting to like do all these different things and feel good about it. And it's really given us a lot of freedom as well. And like that's therapy is one of those things that I think when you are busy and burnt out, you just don't know where it would fit in or how to do it. But I can tell you it has really changed our lives.
Yeah, I always like to think that when I feel the busiest is probably when I need need support the most. So
Mhm.
try to make time for it. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, everybody. We will put some resources in the show notes for sure. And if anybody has any suggestions, maybe when I post this on social media, you can share your suggestions there too. Thanks.
Awesome.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thank you so much for spending some of your precious time with us. We so very much appreciate it and truly hope that it helps you just a little bit. We hope you are doing well, and we will talk to you again soon.